Marketing Manager, Study UK British Council. Thank you so much for joining us today for today's event. So without further ado, we would like to invite Samarthya, our Country Director Indonesia and Director of Southeast Asia Cluster Lead British Council, to give an opening speech. Please, Samar.
Thank you, Geeta. Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon from Jakarta and good morning to our friends in the UK. On behalf of the British Council, a very warm welcome to all of you joining us today, especially the students from across Indonesia who are thinking about studying in the UK. We are so glad you're here. The UK warmly welcomes international students like yourself. And it doesn't just offer world-class education, it offers a life-changing experience. At the British Council, we see this every day. Thousands of Indonesian students have gone to the UK to study, and they come back with more than just a degree. They come back with confidence, global networks, new perspectives, and often lifelong friendships. Some stay on in the UK for a while through the graduate route, and many bring their experience home to create real impact here in Indonesia. So if you are thinking about taking that leap, you are in the right place. Today's webinar is packed with practical advice. You will hear from UCAS, UK Visas and Immigration, UKVI, BUILA, and most importantly, from alumni who have already done what you're planning to do. They will share what it's really like to study and live in the UK, from academic life to food, culture, weather, and how to deal with homesickness. We're also working closely with the Indonesian Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Technology to make sure this information reaches more students like you across Indonesia. Because we believe everyone should have the chance to access global education. So please help us spread the word. And if you're heading to the UK this year, or just want to know more, don't miss our pre-departure briefing on 5th of July in Jakarta. It's a great chance to meet others, get your questions answered, and feel better prepared for the journey ahead. We hope today gives you the clarity and inspiration to take that next step. Great futures do happen when you study in the UK. So if this is your dream, let's make it happen. Thank you very much and enjoy the session. Back to you, Geeta. I think you're on mute, Geeta.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Summer, for an inspiring speech. And yeah, I agree with you. Great future happen when you study in the UK. So in this event, Study UK webinar, let's make it happen. And then for the next agenda, I would like to, it's my pleasure to actually invite His Majesty's Ambassador to Indonesia and Timor-Leste, British Embassy Jakarta, Mr. Dominic Chermy, CVO OBE. Please, to give your remarks.
Hey, thank you very much, Geeta. Can I just check, can everybody hear me? Yep, I think so. Good. Well, look, selamat sore, everybody. How very good to be talking to you today. I'm Dominic Chermy. I'm a UK ambassador, but I also studied in the UK. And my daughter has just finished school here in Jakarta. And she is off to the UK to study in university later this year. And my son is just graduating from his university at the beginning of next month in the UK. So I'm looking forward to hearing all these tips about homesickness and how you handle all sorts of things. But I'm also able to speak about what it's like to be at a UK university. And so delighted that so many of you are online, and we're really thrilled that you're looking at studying in the UK. We're a community, a country that is deeply committed to welcoming international students to the UK. And so thank you very much for your interest. And the UK has got some of the world's top universities, I think 2 of the top 3 universities in the world are in the UK, many of the top 10 universities in the United Kingdom. And in the top 200, we've got the Russell Group, and many universities that are just fantastic to be at from an academic perspective, from a research impact perspective, and from a global perspective. They're looking at supporting you developing creativity, critical thinking, independence in the way that you look at the world, all essential tools that you're going to be able to use for the rest of your life in whatever you do. And the UK qualification, of course, is internationally respected here in Indonesia and all across the globe. So at the moment, the UK has got about, goodness me, around 600,000 international students. And I know that my son, some of his best friends at uni have been international students that he's been studying alongside. And that's one of the great things about the experience. It can be a really international, global experience, as well as, I hope, learning something about the culture of my country, of the United Kingdom. And it's an inclusive environment as well, where students, you'll be learning from each other, and you'll be learning as well from your tutors there, to become really global citizens. And when you've finished learning in the UK, we really value our global alumni. And we hope that you will stay in touch with and be part of a kind of a global UK alumnus community. And at the UK, we've consistently reaffirmed our commitment to supporting international students. And through the graduate route, students can remain in the UK for 2 years or indeed 3 years for doctoral students after completing your studies to work or to seek employment. And that's really important. That's part of supporting you in what you go on to do after you've had, hopefully, a fabulous experience studying in the UK. And, we work to ensure that the UK remains a top choice for students looking for really world-class education, and just as importantly, a safe and supportive environment. And believe me, I enjoyed that when I was in the UK, but that was a while ago. But as a dad, as a father now, with my son being in the UK and my daughter just about to go to the UK, I want that to be a fantastic environment. So that includes being supportive, safe, and inclusive. And look, there are many opportunities for scholarships available, world-leading academic programs as well to support you across many disciplines. And UK institutions also offer extensive student support services, from academic guidance to mental health and to well-being, as well as career advice and international student networks. So you're part of really a global community from the moment you arrive. And I just want to comment on recent global developments. It's an uncertain time internationally, and I recognise that will be perhaps on your minds for many of you. Please know that my country, the UK, continues to welcome international students really warmly, with open arms. So we're here to support you every step of the way. And it's so lovely, for example, for my daughter to know that many of her friends who she's been studying with here in Jakarta are going to be going and studying with her when she goes to the United Kingdom later this year to university. So look, please explore all your options, connect with UK institutions, and I hope this seminar this afternoon is helpful for you as you take whatever your next exciting step is going to be towards your future. And so, look, thank you for joining us again. I look forward to welcoming you as part of the UK alumnus community, not just as students, but as part of a global academic network. And remember, great futures happen when you study in the UK. So let's make it happen. Bersama kita bisa.
bersama kita bisa and great future happen when you study in the UK. Thank you so much, Mr. Dominic Jeremy, His Majesty's Ambassador to Indonesia, and Timor Leste for sharing your wisdom for today's event. Okay, so moving forward, we will have some presentation from our colleagues, and then we will have Q&A in the end. And without further ado, I'll invite Iona Murdoch, the Policy Advisor, University UK International or UUKI, to give your presentation. The floor is yours.
Hello, I'm guessing you can hear me now. Zoom is an unfamiliar territory for me, but it's very lovely to have you all on this call. I hope that you're well, your day's going well, and you're ready to learn some stuff about studying in the UK. I'm Iona Murdoch. I'm the policy advisor for what we call global mobility and recruitment in UKI, Universities UK International. It's a part of Universities UK in the UK, funnily enough, and it's a charity, a body, a collective voice of a lot of universities in the UK, 141 if I'm not mistaken right now. And the purpose of us is that we work with the government and the universities to really champion UK higher education. We work across policy and we provide insights for these universities. We work across a lot of different areas, including funding, economy, and internationalization. And one of our main jobs is to make sure that universities are the best that they can be to support the international and domestic students that we have studying there. As some colleagues have already said, it's a very diverse place to study. And in my opinion, because I studied in the UK, it's a very nice place to study. So I encourage you to put those applications in. I'll talk through some of the processes of how to apply, and hopefully it will be a bit clearer for you at the end of this. So to study in the UK, I want to iterate, it's really not too late to apply yet. The deadlines are still a couple of months away. So depending on what programme, what university and what level you are looking to apply to, our UK universities are still accepting applications until a couple of months before September 2025, when September and October the courses usually start. The best way to apply and the most common way for undergraduate courses, for bachelors, you have to apply through UCAS, which is the admission services we have. And we have a UCAS colleague on the call later, so I won't go into too much detail that they'll already cover. But the main period to apply by is the 30th of June. So you have to apply by then. There is what we call clearing, which is after this main application period where you can apply after that, and that starts from the 5th of July. And this is really last minute application opportunities, spots that are left at the university, you can reapply there. There's also postgraduate and research courses that you can apply for, and that's more typically done directly through the university website. They close slightly later in July, but it depends entirely on how many spots the university still has. And there are some alternative course start dates that happen at universities, which can be after September, which may give you slightly more time as well. So first things first. I don't know if I can control the slides, but yeah, perfect. So one of the big things that you need to do when you are considering applying to the UK is checking the requirements. And one of these big requirements is English language requirements. This is a guide only, so please check the Indonesian qualification and entry requirements page on each university that you're looking at and considering applying for, because it will differ slightly. We're going to have a look at some of the main types of courses, the levels, and also English language specifically. Next slide. So, foundation year courses. This is something you might see when you're researching, And this is very much an international foundation year. It's a preparation program designed for international students who don't quite meet the entry requirements for UK undergraduate students. It could be interesting, so have a look and see if this is you, especially for academic and English language. Next slide. We also have undergraduate courses. So this is probably more likely something that you are looking at. It requires a certain level of grades, but please do check what this specific program and university is looking for. They will accept international qualifications as well, like international baccalaureate, but it really depends on what degree you've been studying at school so far. Next slide. For bachelor's, master's, for master's or postgraduate courses, depending on what you call it, this is really following this bachelor's degree that we have in the UK, which is typically 3 or 4 years. Grade requirements will really vary depending on the university. So again, I feel like this is all I'm saying, but please check the university website for what the requirements are. But I want to reiterate, everything is a bit different. And PhD programs, of course, we also have these as well. Please check the university website. And the English language tests. This is something that can be, next slide, please. This is something that can sometimes be a little bit confusing. Every English-speaking country does it slightly differently. For UK universities, unless you come from an English-speaking country, such as Australia, for example, you will have to provide proof of English language proficiency, the level of English language that you're at. The most common language test that we see is IELTS, PTE Academic, and what we call TEFL. So if you want to search these, you can see what one makes most sense for you, and more importantly, what test openings they have for you to actually take the exams. Some universities also accept specific English language tests in A-levels, so have a check to see where you sit in this. But generally, it really will depend on if you are joining below degree level. So have a check on the university website. Next slide. And at the time of the application cycle, so when you are actually applying for the degree, it's important that you complete and have an English language test as soon as possible. There are some universities that will provide pre-English language information, and that will help students ensure that they meet the right English language level. But please do make sure that you take it before the official start of the degree programme and you have the right level for the course that you're studying. Okay, thank you. I'm going to pass on to my colleague at UCAS who can talk through a bit more of the application process for undergraduate, postgraduate, and any other details that you might need to find your specific course. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks so much. Can you hear me all okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. So just to briefly introduce myself, and thank you so much for the opportunity to come and speak. My name is Courtney from UCAS, and I'm an International Development Officer. So the next few slides will be about how to complete an application, a bit about what UCAS is, and just following the previous section, some of those kind of facets of UCAS, like UCAS clearing, and otherwise in a bit more detail. If I may have the next slide, please. So what UCAS is we are the shared admission service in the United Kingdom. So we sit between the applicant, the student applying, and the university. So in essence, we provide the application form and then lots of research tools to complement that as well. So how it would work, so up until June 30th, it's the standard application kind of cut-off cycle, meaning you would use one application form and can add up to 5 university choices on the same form, and a copy of that same application goes to each of those choices. So how it's done in terms of applying, so on ucas.com, our website, you would have the agency the opportunity to register for a UCAS Hub account, where you would find firstly lots of research tools, but equally the application form itself. So to apply on UCAS, there's a small fee for the application itself, which is £28.50. And then once your application is submitted, you will then use the same form to track any decisions from the universities. I think at this point, it's a really, I guess, a good point to kind of stress. So UCAS has some key dates earlier in the cycle. So in January, we have something known as an equal consideration date, which sometimes there can be a misconception that it's a cutoff, it's the end, the last chance to apply, which really isn't the case. And many opportunities, including right now, are still available to apply to. So just again, those key dates to be mindful of: up to June 30th, you can still apply with up to 5 choices. If an applicant is unable to secure a place, it would automatically be entered into clearing, which we will discuss what that is in more detail. And if somebody applies after June 30th, the application goes directly into UCAS clearing. And if I may have the next slide, thank you. So just on this slide, it's a little bit of an overview what would happen once you register for UCAS. So on the left-hand side are a few screenshots of our application form. So they're broken up into different sections, and once you complete a section, there will be a percentage bar at the top of the page, which will go up and up and up, and once it reaches 100%, it's ready to submit. So just to call back to the June 30th, 6 p.m. UK time, which is the close of what's known as the standard application cycle, before we go into clearing. On this page, you'll find choices as part of the application, which is where you would have the opportunity to list the university choices, up to 5 you wish to apply to. And again, a copy of the application is sent to each of those. And then so for the bottom part of the experience, so things like references, for instance, which is normally like a recommendation. What is a recommendation? From usually a teacher. And that's completed before the application is submitted. But calling again, if you submit the application and do then go into UCAS clearing, if it's done post June 30th, the same application form can still be used. And then on the right-hand side, it's just a few of our tools as well. So again, once you register on UCAS.com and you're given a personalized UCAS hub, there are lots of research tools and things like location guides, course guides, and just as in the screenshot there, we have a tool to kind of speak directly to students enrolled in UK universities as well. So for any kind of questions that you did have to students as well from a different perspective, you would have the opportunity to do that also. And if I may have the next slide, thank you. So just in terms of the steps of applying, so again, you would register on ucas.com, take it into a hub where you would find the application form. And then just per the previous slide with the screenshots on the left, you would complete all of the sections. And then when it's ready, you would refer. So just what predicted grades are, so quite normally an applicant would apply with what's known as pending qualifications, meaning qualifications completed simultaneously to the application. And if that's the case, when it comes to the reference, which again is typically a teacher or an educator, they would have the opportunity to predict what they feel your grade would be post-exam and post-results. And it gives the universities a guideline, an understanding of your attainment, which then factors into offer making. So once that's all completed, you would send the application, which again, it's one application you would complete per cycle, which goes to the universities unless it's clearing, which is a slightly different procedure, which will be discussed. And in pre-June 30th applications, you would then use the same application form to track decisions. So for instance, if a university wanted to make an offer, you would get a notification from UCAS via email, and then when you sign in, you would be able to see what that offer is. And if I may have the next slide, thank you. So a specific slide we wanted to include is UCAS clearing. So again, any applications post June 30th will go straight into clearing, for where UCAS clearing is open from July 5th to the end of the cycle. So similarly, you would complete an application in the same way. So the education section, the reference, and a personal statement, which we have a designated slide to as well. It's just a slight difference with UCAS clearing is rather than adding the choices initially when you apply, via UCAS, you can search for vacancies that are still available and normally listed on university websites as well. And then the student applicant would contact the university, sharing what's known as a personal ID number that UCAS give you for your application. The university are then able to search the application to see your education, your reference, and all parts that you've completed. And then it will be more of a direct conversation. And quite typically, a university, if wishing to make an offer, would give you what's known as a verbal offer, which is normally via email, which kind of expresses their interest and their ability or kind of want to offer you the place on the course. And then finally, you would add that course back onto your UCAS application just for the university formally clearing accept you. And again, I think what's an interesting or kind of a topical or a point to make at this stage again, calling back to our earlier January equal consideration date, which is a date and not a deadline. So again, many opportunities still available and will be right to the end of cycle if wishing to still apply. But again, just what UCAS clearing is for any applications post June 30th, or if a student is unable to secure a place, it automatically goes into clearing. And just in terms of the application fee again, which was £28.50, if you were to apply before June 30th, was unable to secure a place, you would be popped into UCAS clearing without any additional fee. And if I may have the next slide, thank you. And yes, so we thought to include a designated slide just for the personal statement, which is its own section on the UCAS application form completed before the application is sent. So with the UCAS form, if you were to apply, what you'd come to find is all of the section are closed questions, meaning it's maybe a drop-down menu, you're listing qualifications, where what the personal statement is, it's an opportunity to free type text into to express why you want to apply. So as per the slide, it gives you the opportunity to list skills, knowledge, experiences, and then the evidences that you do have for any things that you're doing to kind of complement your interests. And it starts to build, I guess, again, that kind of to communicate to the university centrally via the application why you are applying and essentially why you've chosen this course. And maybe if you had some, for example, goals for applying, so for instance, like a career path, you could use the personal statement to express why you feel that course would maybe get you to kind of your desires and your plans. So just some important points with the UCAS personal statement. Again, it's completed before the application is submitted. And if you were to apply in the main cycle, which is again the one pre-June 30th, it's the same personal statement for all of the choices. A separate point to make here, so if you were to apply to up to 5 choices, which certainly is possible, they are all invisible as well, meaning one university couldn't see the other choice on your application. So kind of as a tip, not mentioning universities by name, but being very course specific. So just the format of the personal statement, so it can be up to 4,000 characters, which you have the agency to write about what you like. But some of the, again, tips that we do suggest is looking at skills and really being kind of course centric and expressing why you're applying and why you feel you may be a successful student. And I think that's my final slide from our side. Yes, thank you. But just to pass on, so at the end on the Q&A, we're very welcome to ask any questions too. But yes, just as a kind of a takeaway final message, certainly not too late to apply. So if you are considering the UK undergraduate level, yes, very still welcome for 2025. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Courtney, and thank you, British Council, for organising this. And hello, everyone. My name is UCAS Tang-Plowman. I am the Vice Chair of a really nice association that is called British Universities Liaison Association, that is kind of made up of universities in the UK that are recruiting international students. So I look after I am the vice chair of the committee, and also I was an international student myself. So many years ago, I came to the UK to study a master's course from China. And as many colleagues have mentioned time and time again, this experience absolutely was, is still life-changing. So I'm pleased to share with you some of the tips and guidance on applying for a postgraduate or a master's course in the UK, and also my personal experience as well. So we'll move over to the next slide. And to start with, we'll look at how you will apply for a postgraduate course in the UK. And that is for those who are thinking about a master's degree or even a PhD. So a master's degree in the UK is one of the best, and it's what I've done when I came to the UK. It is usually 1 year, although some of the courses and some of the universities do have 2-year masters or research masters that can be slightly longer. But typically, the taught postgraduate master's course can be just completed within a year. And the good news is that this process is really, really simple. For postgraduate courses or master's courses, you normally would apply directly to the university of choice, universities that you are interested in. There is no central application system. So unlike the undergraduate programs, you apply typically through UCAS. For postgraduate courses, you contact the university directly. So you are free to apply to as many universities and courses as you like. And this gives you lots of flexibilities to find the program that really matches your interests and also matches your career goals. So you'll need to complete an online application form through the university's official website. This will normally ask for details of your previous studies and a personal statement, not too different from what Courtney has mentioned, a personal statement that you will be putting together for your undergraduate degree. So a similar personal statement stating why you are interested in this university, why you're interested in this subject, and also talk about your career ambition, how this study experience may add value to your future career. And also, a lot of universities will require references from your teachers or your employers, and also proof of your English language abilities. That also was mentioned in the past. So this could be IELTS, TOEFL, Pearson, or some universities even have their own in-house English language test. One very, very important tip is please do check each university's website carefully for their application deadlines, application fees, and whether you need to pay a deposit once you accept an offer. These details can be very different from one university to another. And also, please remember, UK offers such a wide range of choices of postgraduate programs, from business to engineering to science, pharmacy, medicine, humanity, arts. So take the time. There is still some time for you to explore your options and find the best fit for you. And I would just say, not only it's not too late to apply for September, many, many universities in the UK would offer different intake dates. So for example, my university, University of Law, we have November intake, we have January intake, and that is very, very common. So if you are not ready, or if you want to stay in Indonesia for a bit longer, there are other intake dates that offers a wide range of options for universities and degree subjects. So please don't be afraid to reach out to your universities of choice with questions, and I'm sure they will be always happy to help. So if we move on to the next slide, there are some very useful resources for you to look into. And these are links that have been carefully put together by the British Council colleagues that will tell you everything you need to know about undergraduate courses and postgraduate courses. And also, I believe many students now use various AI tools to ask AI questions about experience in the UK. AI is very widely embedded in our teaching and learning because it is something that students will need to be very comfortable using in the future. So feel free to use that as a search tool as well as these links that have been put together for you by the British Council. So my last slide is about accommodation. If we move over, and let's talk about the various accommodation choices, as it is so important for your student experience in the UK. It was really important for me when I was considering studying in the UK. First of all, your university will have an accommodation office or accommodation team. You will be able to find their contact details or information on the university's website. These are the team of dedicated staff members who know everything about accommodation options near or within their university. So please do make contact with these colleagues early and ask questions that you may have about room choices, location, costs, etc. You will find lots of helpful guidance online too. The British Council Study UK website, for example, has really comprehensive information about different types of accommodation in the UK, and many universities offer their own accommodations. Often these are in halls of residences, and these student accommodations provided by universities often come with extra support and security, especially if it is your first time living away from home. You can also choose private accommodation. There's lots of private accommodations available in all cities in the UK because UK is so welcoming and there are lots of international students here. So there'll be a lot of private accommodation choices, such as renting an apartment or a room in a shared house. This will give you more independence and also give you opportunity to kind of manage your own finances if you are up to that challenge. But it is important to check the rental contracts carefully. Your university accommodation team staff members can help you with this, and also please do use various online resources to verify the terms and conditions in the rental contract. A key tip is to start thinking about accommodation as soon as you accept your offer. As soon as you've decided, yes, this is the university I want to go to study. University accommodation can get booked up very early, so don't leave it until the last minute. But rest assured, there will always be accommodation options available to you. So please remember, where you live will play a big role in your experience. Please take time to do the research. And also, we've got student ambassador today here with us at this webinar. So feel free to ask questions today as well. Thank you very much. I will hand you back.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ula from BUILA, to have a summary about postgraduate admissions and also accommodation. Also, before we have Iona Murdoch, policy advisor for Universities UK International, and also Courtney Grange for International Development Officer at University and Colleagues Admission Service, or UCAS. And now we'll have a Q&A session. I will check into our chat first. I think there are several questions here. And I saw from Rachel, if my score did not reach the requirement, I will need to use clearing since I applied my current firm choice through extra after drawing back my initial 5 choices. Will I need to call the university before I can make changes in the UCAS? How will the interface of the system be when applying through clearing? Courtney, do you want to take this question?
I can answer that. Thank you. Yes, I was just typing. Actually, it's a great opportunity to address it. Yes. So how it would work there. So as we mentioned, the original 5 choices, and there is an in-between section called UCAS Extra. If a student is then placed to still apply in that interim between the two. So how it would work is UCAS clearing becomes accessible for students who are not holding an offer through either their original 5 choices or the service we have called UCAS Extra, which again is the opportunity between standard application and clearing. So it would also, so in short, if the applicant wasn't holding a place, it would be the same screen they would expect to see on UCAS. So when they view application, instead it would say add clearing choice. In terms of contacting the universities, if a student goes into clearing, either by declining an option or being unsuccessful, yes, I would certainly encourage contacting the university before re-adding a choice for that direct conversation. In terms of the entry requirement, so each university has the opportunity to list their own unique entry requirements. So would still have that conversation, and meaning there are different opportunities with different entry requirements. But in short, yes, speaking to the university who would have that direct conversation with you. And if they indicate like to offer you a place, you would then add it onto your application. And then just to comment back on the interface, it will be the same UCAS application form you originally used. And just like adding an extra choice or just below the original 5 choice options, there will be a button to say add clearing choice.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, Courtney, for your answer. I hope it's answer Rachel's question. And then next, I will go into Nur Hidayatus Sharifah. Do higher education in the UK now accept IELTS with one skill retake? Or do we need to check each program and university? Maybe Iona, you want to take this question?
Yeah, I can. To be honest, it will really depend on each university. Some will not accept that and some will. I was just quickly looking online to see if there's a resource that actually lists things, and there's a British Council page on IELTS. So I'll reply to the Q&A and link the webpage in so that you can have a look in more detail what universities do accept it. But when you check the website, I would still say look at the list of universities and then check the university's website specifically just to make sure that it is correct.
Thank you so much, Iona, for your answer. And then we have one question from Tanya. From your experience, how long is the ideal preparation time for the master degree? Is it 1 year? Maybe Ula, do you want to take this question? Ula? I think you are still in mute. Okay. Yeah, so maybe I can also share my my own experience. So actually, let me introduce myself. So I studied in the UK back then. I took master degree as well. For 1 year, I studied MBA, Master of Administration at Cardiff University, and it depends on your actually preparation. For me, actually, I studied in the UK 2017 and I started preparing from 2016. For example, like preparing to have good IELTS tests, for example, and then preparing you need to have like essays, and then of course like documents that you need to submit to the UK universities. So yeah, so actually for the preparations, it depends. But if you wanna go to the UK and you want to for this intake for this year, I think it's still also possible to prepare all of this. If you have already take IELTS, or if you have already have, for example, the recommendation and preparing your essays, for example, it will be still possible to apply for the UK university. I hope that answers your question. And do we have more questions from this Q&A? Okay, so we have this one, Siwa Adigama. What are the options available for majors that we can take for UCAS? So maybe Courtney, do you want to take this question?
I certainly can, yes. I'm so sorry that it just cut out. Could I just get the question once more, if that's okay?
Yeah, so the question is, what are the options available for the majors, the subjects that we can take through UCAS?
Oh, that's quite okay. Yes, and there's many, many, many options. I do want to put a number on it, but I didn't have it immediately to hand, but it's certainly in the thousands. So we recruit from around, well, there's in terms of the universities who use UCAS, it's between 300 and 400, around that number, meaning there are thousands of course options. So with that said, aside from the actual application form, what UCAS also provides is the platform to start researching as well. So we have a course search tool which shows the entry requirements listed by universities, other things to be considered of. But in terms of the majors, the programs, yes, there are certainly many. And I think just as like a top tip as well, which I think is quite useful to include, that in the UK, two named majors or kind of courses or programs might have different kind of modules and different units. And for instance, there may be things like study abroad options included and integrated into the course, and albeit still have much the same name between the two. So really good to research before and keep things like that in mind. But in direct answer to the question, there are certainly thousands. So yes, lots and lots of programs.
Yeah, thank you, Courtney, for your answer. Yeah, there's a lot of programs that you can check, that you can apply through UCAS for the undergraduate admission as well. So thank you so much for your answer for the panelists. So moving forward, we will have a presentation from Mary Frances Salomon, the Visa Outreach Officer from the UKVI. Please, the floor is yours. Maria, are you with us? I think you're still in mute. Can you hear me? We cannot hear you still, Mary Frances. Yeah. Yeah, we cannot still hear you. I think there is a technical issues. We cannot still hear you, Mary. Okay. Yeah, so we will wait for
Hello?
Mary. Yeah, perfect.
Hello, can you hear me
Perfect.
now?
Yeah, I
Okay,
can
I'm
hear
so
you
sorry
now.
for that technical difficulty. So hello
No
and good
worries.
afternoon, everyone. So thank you so much for inviting us for inviting UKVI for this session. So I am Francis from UKVI and the Visa Outreach Officer. So I'm here to share information about the UK student visas. Could you go to the next slide, please? So just a quick overview about the student visa immigration statistics is that last year, ending March 2025, we were able to issue around more than 425,000 student visas to main applicants with an equivalent issue rate of 95%. So basically, the number really shows that applying for a UK visa is really easy and straightforward as long as you are eligible and meet the necessary requirements. So to apply for a UK visa, so the first thing you would have to okay, next slide please. The first thing you would have to check is that if you're eligible to apply for a student visa. So anyone who is a British and Irish citizen do not need a UK student visa. But if you are not a British and Irish citizen and you want to study in the UK for more than 6 months, you would definitely need to apply for a UK student visa. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. sorry. So who can apply for a UK student visa? So anyone who is 16 or over and meet the following requirements can actually apply for a UK student visa. So first, you must have an offer from an approved education institution. So what do we mean by an approved education institution? So it means that the education institution must be listed under the Register of Licensed Sponsors for Students, which can be found at the gov.uk website. Second, you must be able to speak, read, write, and understand English, and you will need to provide some documents to show that you meet this following requirement. Third, you must have enough money to pay for your course and support yourself, and you must have consent from your parents if you're under 18 years old. And then if you are between 4 to 17 years old and you want to study at an independent school, you may be eligible to apply for a child student visa instead. Next slide, please. So before you apply, here are some things you must remember. So first, again, identify and apply for your course. Second, check your education provider is a licensed student sponsor. So again, the register for licensed student of sponsors can be found at the gov.uk website. And then third, make sure that you have a reference number for your confirmation of acceptance for studies, which will be provided to you by your education provider. So you need this reference number when you apply for your student visa. And then you must also check the gov.uk website for the complete list of documents that you need to prepare for your visa application. And lastly, apply for your visa as soon as you receive your CAS reference number. In fact, students can actually apply for their student visa 6 months in advance of their course start date. Next slide, please. For the documents required, so basically, definitely you would need to have a valid passport or a travel document, and then your CAS reference numbers. In addition to this, you would also need evidence to prove that you have enough money to study in the UK, proof of your knowledge of English, a birth certificate, and parental consent if you're under 18 years old, a tuberculosis test certificate. So for Indonesians or anyone who is living in Indonesia for more than 6 months, you will be required to submit a tuberculosis test certificate that is issued by one of our accredited TB clinics in Indonesia. So currently, I believe we have 7 accredited clinics all around Indonesia. So for the specific for the list of the specific clinics, you could also find this at the gov.uk website. And lastly, you may need an ATAS certificate, but the ATAS certificate would depend on the course that you're going to study in the UK. So please check with your universities first, or check on your confirmation of acceptance for studies if you will be required to submit an ATAS certificate. Next slide, please. For the knowledge of English, the most important thing you would need to submit is an English test certificate from an approved English test provider. So as mentioned by our colleagues a while ago, you could take UKVI for IELTS for UKVI, TOEFL, PSI, Pearson, and other approved English tests. So also, in addition, you would need to prove your knowledge of English. For example, if you have a GCSE, A-level, Scottish National Qualification Level 4 or 5, Scottish Higher or Advanced Higher in English gained through study at a UK school begun when under 18 years old. And lastly, if you are studying at a degree level or above at a higher education provider. So what I would recommend is to always check first with your institutions if they would if they are requiring you to take a UKVI test, or they would like to assess your level of English, because some higher education providers can actually assess your level of English on our behalf. So they may ask you to do a different test. So always check first with your universities before taking an English language test. Next slide, please. For the fund, so what you would need to do is to submit evidence that you have enough money to pay for your course and your living costs. So how do we normally compute the living costs? So if you're going to study inside London, you need to have at least £1,483 each month for a maximum of 9 months. And if you're going to study outside London, you need to have at least £1,136 each month for a maximum of 9 months. But if you're going to study in the UK, let's say for just 7 months or 8 months, you would only need to show that you have enough money for, let's say, 7 months or 8 months. So how would you be able to prove that you have enough money? So first, a bank statement, which is in a savings account. It could be under the student's name or your parents' or guardian's name. Or you could also prove that you have enough money by submitting proof of a student loan, or if you are going to be sponsored by a government or any financial grants. The most important rule that you need to follow when you are showing that you have enough money for your study in the UK is that the funds must have been held for at least 28 consecutive days prior to submitting your application. So for example, let's say you're going to apply for your student visa on January 1, 2026. So the 28th day must be between December 1, 2025 to January 1, 2026. And it should have been held for 28 consecutive days. Next slide, please. In addition, there are some applicants who may not need to prove that they have enough money to support themselves. First, you will need to show enough evidence if, let's say, you've studied in the UK previously and you're currently in the UK, or if you're applying as a student union sabbatical officer, or if you're applying as a postgraduate doctor or dentist on a recognized foundation program. And lastly, if you are one of the nationals under the differential evidence requirement, for example, Indonesians, so you are under the differential evidence requirement. So if you are an Indonesian, you are not really required to submit proof of financial requirement. But then at the end of the day, UKVI would always or would still expect that you meet these financial requirements, because some officers or assessing officers may still ask for this evidence before they make a decision on your application. Next slide, please. For the visa application process, so you can see on the slide that there are two processes. So the most important thing that you have to remember, or you have to check, is your visa application process would depend on the date when you intend to apply. So there's a major change that is going to happen for UKVI. So if you're going to apply before July 15, you would still need to follow the first process, wherein you would still get a visa sticker on your passport. But if you are going to apply after July 15, you will no longer get a visa sticker on your passport. But before I go over the differences on these two applications, let's just quickly discuss the visa application process. So when you apply for a student visa, first you have to complete an online application form at the gov.uk website, then pay for your visa fee and the immigration health surcharge fee on the gov.uk website. After paying the fees, you have to book an appointment with the Visa Application Center online to submit your biometric information. Then once you've submitted your biometric information, your application will be transmitted electronically to one of our decision-making centers, who will then make a decision on your application. So here comes the difference. So if you're going to apply before July 15, you would need to leave your passport at the Visa Application Center until a decision has been made, because you will need to stick a visa sticker on your passport. But then when you apply on or after July 15, you would only need to bring your passport at the time of your appointment, wait for a few hours, and then the Visa Application Center will return your passport to you within the same day of your biometric appointment. So once a decision has been made, you would only need to create your UKVI account to access your electronic visa and then travel to the UK. So for more information about the changes, you could visit the gov.uk website as well. Next slide, please. So here are some application tips when you apply for your UK student visa. So first, once you receive your CAS reference number, please apply as soon as possible to avoid delays. So the student processing time is 3 weeks, but then if you need to travel urgently, we offer the priority service, which is a priority service wherein you could get a decision within 5 working days. And we also offer the super priority service, wherein you could get a decision by the end of the next working day. But there are additional fees if you're going to apply for these services. Next, check that your CAS is for the correct visa. So please check if your CAS has been issued for the student visa or for a child student visa. Third, include all necessary documents. Fourth, include official translations of your documents. If you have any document that is not in English, please make sure it's accompanied by an English translated document. Fifth, include a supporting letter to explain any gaps in your study. For example, if you've graduated already and then you decided to work, you may submit, let's say, a certificate of employment. And then another, disclose your full travel history, including visas refused. So, for example, if you've been refused a US visa, Australian visa, please always declare this on your visa application form, as non-disclosure of this immigration visa refusal could lead to a UK refusal as well. And then also, please disclose any forms of criminality, and then include your birth certificate and parental consent letter if you are under 18 and if you intend to use the funds of your parents. And if you're eligible to apply for the UK Immigration ID Check app, please make sure that to complete the process and confirm that you have submitted your documents. And lastly, please always make sure that when your visa application is issued, create a UKVI account to be able to access your electronic visa so you won't have any problems or troubles when you travel to the UK. Next slide, please. So again, as I mentioned, I would just like to re-highlight that from July 15, if you are applying for a student visa or if you know anyone who's applying for a work visa, those applicants would no longer be able to get a visa sticker if you're applying as a main applicant. But if you are applying as a dependent, you would still get a 90-day vignette. So for other visa categories, such as, let's say, the UK standard visitor visa, you would still get a vignette or a visa sticker on your passport until later at the year 20, later at the end of the year or by 2026. Next slide, please. So on the screen is what an e-visa looks like. So an e-visa is a digital immigration permission in the UK. So it's like a digital version of a visa sticker, but it's now on a digital platform. So for the electronic visa, it's basically like the UKVI account is like your passport, and the electronic visa is like the visa sticker which is stuck onto your passport. So when you have your e-visa, please also make sure to always create or generate a share code. So below the picture, you can see get a share code. So the share code is valid for 90 days, and you could give the share code to, let's say, your landlords or the bank institutions in order for you to show your full immigration status in the UK. Next slide, please. So again, for just a quick updates and important updates when traveling to the UK. So from April to anyone who is not required to apply for a visa to enter the UK will need to apply for an electronic travel authorization. So for example, if you will be accompanied by let's say an Australian national, US national, they would need to apply for an electronic travel authorization to enter the UK. From June 2, another update is that we will no longer accept expired biometric residence as evidence of permission to travel to the UK. And again, the most important date to remember, I know I sound a broken record, but please remember the date July 15 because that is the day wherein the process would be different for student visa applicants. So again, the most important thing you have to do if you're applying after July 15 is to make sure that you will access your e-visa, create your UKVI account, and always generate your share code so you won't have any problems when traveling to the UK. Next slide, please. So just a quick information about the graduate visa. So the graduate visa is a post-study immigration route which would allow students to work or to actually look for work whilst in the UK. Next slide, please. So under the graduate visa, there's no sponsorship required, and students could actually study in the UK for 2 years or 3 years, depending on the course that they have finished. So for the graduate visa, you could apply for this only when you are inside the UK and your education provider has already told the Home Office that you have successfully completed an eligible course. You do not actually need to wait until your graduation to apply for a graduate visa. Second, it is important that you have graduated from an approved institution, meaning that your university has a track record of compliance. So how would you be able to identify if the university has a track record of compliance? You could check this track record on the Register of Licensed Sponsors for Students, again, which can be found at the gov.uk website. And then you must apply for the graduate visa before your student visa expires. So normally, when you apply for a student visa, you will be given at least a maximum of 4 months after your course end date. And this is enough time for you to apply for your graduate visa within the UK. And lastly, for this one, you don't need to submit any sponsorship required. So you just have to pay for the graduate visa fee and the immigration health surcharge fee. Next slide, please. So on the following slides are the important links or QR codes that you may check when applying for a UK visa. Next slide, please. If you want, you could take a screenshot of the slides. Could you move to the next slide, please? Next slide, please. So if you would like to contact UKVI, so you could contact us by scanning the QR code. But also, if you would like to check for important updates, please follow the UKVI's official X account. But please don't send any direct messages, as we won't be able to respond to these messages. So I think that's the end of my presentation. But I'll be happy to answer any questions if participants would. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ula, for Frances, for your presentation about the visa information for Indonesian students. And then we'll go into next agenda. With us, we have Danniella Jasmine Soetandi. Currently, she is studying in Imperial College London, taking BSc Medical Biosciences. Danniella, are you with us? Yeah. Okay. Hi, how are you?
Great, how are you? You can hear me
I'm
all
good. Yes, perfect. I can hear you.
right.
Okay, Danniella, so you can share about your experience when you start applying to the UK universities, and also your current experience as a UK student living in London. And then how is your experience in the UK so far?
Definitely. Well, I think earlier, all of our previous colleagues had mentioned so many technical aspects as to why studying in the UK is such a great option. And I think personally for me, there were three really main reasons as to why. First, it was cost effective. It's only 3 years in comparison to other 4-year courses. And so I just thought that that was a little bit more cost effective, and it gets me into the workforce quicker, and with an equal amount of exposure and with probably the same amount of knowledge that you'll gain from a course. Second of all, I think that because it's just a 3-year course, I like the structured, it's very straightforward and it's very structured. And so it was quite nice because you already go on your first day, you're already getting expertise. You don't have to go through any of the general education courses anymore. You don't have to repeat any of that. So it really is tailored towards what you like and what you want to study. And also because, as I said earlier, I study medical biosciences or biomedical sciences at Imperial College London. I found that the research opportunities for me and for my field especially were very rampant and very much available in the UK, and that's kind of where it was booming, which is why I decided the UK was a great choice, and Imperial as well is a really great university which can help me get to that. And yeah, I think my application process was also straightforward. UCAS is a very easy website to navigate through, and it's a very simple process to go through. I think the hardest part for me was probably just reaching those test scores and writing a really good essay and personal statement, but there are a plethora of information and resources out there, not just, within your school. And even if you don't have that, there are so many online resources that I use as well, even like on YouTube, or even the British Council has a lot as well. And yeah, I think my application process was really straightforward, and you can see that from the slide that my application process led me to a successful admission to Imperial. And this was my first day actually, and obviously when you're on your first day, you're really nervous, you don't know what you're doing, but it's kind of comforting to know that everybody is feeling that same way. So for any prospective students that are going in this year, don't worry about making friends, don't worry about settling in. For example, on my first day, I think I spent a lot of time doing administrative tasks. So like opening a bank account and making a SIM card and all of these different kinds of tasks that you think is really scary. But then because of just the amount of international students that the UK gets, they have plans for you, they have packages for you, they have a system that essentially allows a really smooth transition. And so I got basically all of that done on the first day. Made a lot of new friends as well. And again, it was really easy to make friends because everybody has the same mindset of you. Everybody wants to make friends, everybody wants to know other people. And I think my university was also very welcoming because of the amount of international students. And yep, these are just some pictures of my time at the lab because my course is very laboratory based. I think that was one of the greatest things that I'm getting out of this is just the high-tech equipment that I get exposed to and I get to use. And for example, we're currently doing some research on some cancer cells and doing some very novel experiments. And so I think, and sometimes I just think to myself, I wouldn't be able to get this experience in other universities, and especially in not just in Imperial, other UK universities have these as well. I have friends studying the exact same course in other universities all around the UK, and they have very similar experiences. So it really isn't just limited to just the top universities. All UK universities, or most of them at least, are very equipped to help you grow as a person. So I think that was that from my uni days. And aside from that, I think one of the reasons why I like the UK so much and why I like university so much is because of my life outside academics. Imperial is I think everybody knows this, is a very academically rigorous university, but my friends and the things that I get to do around are really helpful. For example, all UK universities have societies, which are just clubs essentially that you can join depending on your interests. For example, I took up a sport called netball, which I had never heard of before until I came to the UK. But in my head, it was, I'm already here, let me try something new. And am I at the complete beginner level of that sport? Yes, absolutely. I'm not good at the sport at all, but it is the people that you make, the people that you meet and the friends that you make along the way that really helps with that experience. And again, it's such an international community, so you meet people from everywhere, and and you really don't feel out of place because everybody will make space for you, which is really, really great. And finally, yeah, I got new hobbies. And here are just some of the joys of what I really liked in the UK. The parks are great. You walk so much in the UK, especially in London. There are plays, and for example, on the right picture there, I also work as a student, and I work as a student representative, and that picture there is me working during one of our graduation days. And there are, again, those opportunities available for work, despite our 20-hour work cap. You get quite a lot of experience and you could get a lot of exposure as well. And so those are just some of my insights from my time in the UK. I'm still in my second year, so I've still got a bit to go. And if any of you want to contact me for any information or anything else, please do. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Danniella, for sharing your experience in the UK. And I know that you have a great experience in the UK. It makes me miss to, experience again to study in the UK. Yeah. So thank you so much, Danniella, for sharing your experience. And then good luck for your study, which is now in the second year of your study in Imperial College London. Thank you, Danniella. Thank you. Okay. So we have heard the presentation from Frances from UKVI and also Danniella, our current student in the UK now studying in Imperial College London. And previously, we have heard about the overview of timelines and admission requirements from Iona from UKI, and also the summary of undergraduate admission by Courtney from UCAS, and also the postgraduate admission and accommodation from ULA, from BUILA. So any final questions that we want to answer you? So we have one question, I think, from Aulia. Yeah. So Okay, so you already answered by Francis already in the chats. Thank you so much. So Leah asked about how to bring partners to the UK with the LPDP scholarships. If we need financial statement when applying visa. Okay, and it's already answered by Francis in the comments. I hope it already answered your question. And if you have a question, please note that we have already take notes from all your questions, and if we haven't answered your question in the chats or by live, we will answer you through email. And finally, I would like to inform you about our upcoming event, which is Study UK Pre-Debato Briefing that we will have it on Saturday, 5th of July in Ganara Art Space Plaza Indonesia, Jakarta. So PDB or Pre-Debato Briefing is an event organized by British Council to provide essential information to help the offer holders, or if many of you have already accepted, for example, from the university, have a letter of acceptance, and then you want to go to study in the UK for this year, please register to our Study UK Pre-Debato Briefing, because you will have engage with the alumni from the UK, and then we have a presentation as well about the visa, about how to pack and budgeting to study in the UK, and then also a lot of things regarding the preparation, what to pack, and then of course you can interact with the UK alumni and also UK university representative in our event. So please, you can scan our QR code here and then register, and see you in Study UK Pre-Debato Briefing on 5th of July. Thank you so much for everyone who have participated in this event. Gita Goinda, thank you all of you, for the speakers, for the participants as well who have joined us from 3 p.m. Indonesia time and also 9 a.m. In the UK. Thank you so much. I hope if you want to know more about Study UK, please go to our websites of Study UK, go to our British Council Indonesia, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter as well. You can click this link, you can scan this link as well, and go to our website as well. So thank you so much for your participation. I'm Gita going to sign off from our Study UK Make It Happen. So make it happen if you want to study in the UK. Great future happen when you study in the UK. Bye. Thank you so much.